After 8 years at Waterfall has now become a fully, functioning mini city. And so Century Properties have made River Sands available to us. And it's not River Sands as you know it. It has been completely bisected by a new dual carriageway that stretches from the Manandi Road to Erling Road, which is actually a distance of 3 kilometers. And the surrounding land around there is available to us for parking and all of our festivities.
And what does that mean in terms of access, getting in the morning particularly?
Well, because we're not using the N14, traffic from the west and the north will be able to come in off the Dipsplit exit and access the River Sands parking. Meanwhile, traffic from the south, or Sandton side, will be coming along the new William Nicol extension 511, which will now be a 2-lane dual carriageway on both sides. And also, there are a number of smaller side roads which can be used for overflow traffic, either access or egress, and certainly emergency vehicles. And so all the things that we have to take into account when we look at a new venue. I haven't seen a venue that ticks all those boxes like this in years.
Just mentioned passing no N14, and I should imagine everybody should be smiling because it was uninteresting. It always seemed to have a headwind. What does that mean?
With River Sands, Stain City, which is a brand new development which hasn't even been launched yet, showed us what they've got in there, and they've got another 2-lane dual carriageway called Stain City Boulevard. And that is at the end of the King of the Mountains, at the top of Cedar Road. You're going to go into Stain City, which is the most phenomenal property.
Now, I was lucky enough to ride it, and I can really tell you not a cycle because it's quite a climb. You added a few meters of climbing. You've made it a lot more interesting, but you added a few more meters.
My technical people tell me we've got nearly 500 meters of extra climbing. So that's the sting in the tail. But this is a challenge. It wasn't supposed to be necessarily for, sissies. But I think the beauty of that piece of land will far outweigh any negativity, and certainly, from an N14 perspective, I hope that we're going to find a lot of people saying, gee, I'd never ride it again because of the N14. Wait, maybe I will go back.
It's certainly a lot more interesting. It's certainly a little bit more hilly. Yes. And I think for the pro race, it's going to be a very exciting race. It really lends itself to a proper finish. And then the last thing was, I was out there the other day. It's unbelievably impressive, but there's still a bit of work to be done.
Oh, absolutely. And it's taken us this long to make this announcement because we had to get 100% written buy-in and guarantees from the various engineers that the roads will be finished. And they have given that to us. Yeah, don't go out there now because you will not understand what the vision that we have and that all of us have. And that's our job, to see blank canvas and see what we can do with it. But I, for one, am extremely excited and think that going forward each year you'll see more and more infrastructure, but it's all being, it'll all be built with the Cycle Challenge in mind.
And 94.7 and Andrew into our midst today. So really we've got all the role players here, and this is just a brief synopsis. So after 8 years, Mark, at Waterfall City, and I remember that day I came and Dex and I came to see you, and you said, no, don't worry, I've got this here and then this there, and for 8 years we were in Waterfall Country Estate, Waterfall City as we almost call it now. And it became very apparent last year that there is just no more room for us there. What was going to be our jock and hospitals and various things are now other schools. And so we've been talking for months now, and Mark said, but hang on, I've got another place. And when he said River Sands, I said, oh, we've been there before. And he said, no, you haven't seen what we've done. And basically what they've done is build it's going to be a light commercial and industrial hub. They've built a dual-lane carriageway that runs parallel to the R511. And that's going to be used by us for all sorts of things. If I can, excuse my laser. The battery went flat, and this is the next best thing. We're going to start up at the top. This road, which is what we're saying is 3 kilometers long, River Sands Boulevard, We're going to start from the first kilometre will be the start pens. And it's going to be a sharp right-hand turn onto the Manandi Road, which, if any of you who've driven out there, is like 3 kilometres, mostly uphill. In fact, all of it uphill, to Summit Road. And when we joined Summit Road, we're actually back on the original Cycle Challenge route. All we're doing is pivoting ourselves backwards, so that Water Point 10, which you all knew of as Heartbreak Hill, now becomes Water Point 1. So everyone got that? It makes sense. And then the route stays exactly the same. We're onto Summit, and we're going through. We'll wave at Waterfall as we get onto the M1 South. We'll do the M1 South. We'll go through the city loop, down Young Smuts, left into Witkoppen, and then we're going to do a little jiggle here. We're going to avoid the Witkoppen and Malibongwe intersection, and just turn the intersection before, turn right, avoiding that intersection. Has become a really contentious time or point on the route with traffic, and the JMPD had asked us that we try and work around that. And that was fabulous. And then we go down Malibongwe, and we pass Cosmo City. And before Mark had this brainwave, and Stain City came on board, we were going to get back onto the highway and come off at Diepsloot and finish down running past Diepsloot. And we were all a little apprehensive until one Friday afternoon, not 3 weeks ago, Mark picked up the phone and said, I've got an idea. And his idea is what we've now made possible. And that is up Malibongwe to the Lion Park. There we're going to turn right onto the R114. Then we're going to turn right onto Cedar. And this is all going brilliantly because we're going downhill. However, we then have to go up the other side of Cedar. And this is going to be a challenge of epidemic proportions, as Andrew said. But once you get to the top, you're going to go through the Stain City Gatehouse and onto Stain City Boulevard, which is, again, a dual carriageway. Beautifully manicured and landscaped, and I believe Stain City are going to activate some really interesting, or put some very interesting activations on. It'll be both entertaining and will highlight what this entire area, Stain City, is all about. I'm not going to steal their thunder because they're still going to launch this place, not this place, Stain City, and that will happen mostly next year. But we go through Stain City and we pop out on the other side at the other gatehouse. And then we go under the R511. So if anyone's been out here, you'll know the big auto and general building is here. And there is an interchange here which allows this route to travel underneath the R511, which goes to Fourways here and Diepsloot here. And then we turn left onto River Sands Boulevard and finish somewhat uphill. Yeah, definitely you're going to be doing a bit of climbing towards the finish. So, with that in mind, you can add another 450 odd meters of climbing into the route this year. And, I think anything that we do will far outweigh the descriptive terms that have been coming to our office about the N14. We did a quick poll on Facebook and had over 100 odd things. So been there, done that. It was unforgiving, windy, hot, relentless, dirty, lonely, and ugly. And I think the boulevard through Stain City is going to be landscape, cultivated, beautiful, scenic, picturesque, and it's uncharted territory for us. And hopefully we will be able to give back to Stain City and River Sands as they're giving back to us, because I think the kind of people we bring through the cycling community may well see benefit in Stain City once it's launched, and equally from an industrial and commercial point of view in the River Sands development. So that just finalizes that start and finish. And that is the profile, and you'll see that extra climbing towards the end. So let never be said that it's flat in Johannesburg. In fact, I think we're now climbing more than they are at other cycling events down in Cape Town. The Cycle Tour, who's also now part of the Momentum stable. We believe that with this, and piggybacking on our Right for a Purpose campaign, that we will lure many more cyclists back to the event who've said, I'll never do this event again because of that N14. And double that up with Riding for a Purpose, and there is no reason why we can't have an entry field of 35,000. If not this year, next year. Okay. And with that, Carl Osman from Momentum was going to say a few words.
You know, just looking at all of this as well. And, you know, we've obviously looked at this a while back, and we realized that there are so many benefits to this venue that we haven't even spoken about now. That makes us as a sponsor to the event really, really excited. I mean, me for one being a cyclist, but also understanding over the years and years of doing the big race in Cape Town and also this one, what it is that cyclists really enjoy. I mean, just to mention some of those things. For instance, one of the things that people don't really enjoy is to park at one place and then finishing at a totally different place and then having to figure out how they get back to their vehicles. Now, of course, this venue allows that. It allows people to park at one place and to do everything from one place. We've obviously spoken about the mountain bike route over the years, and as you've clearly seen from a geographical point of view, this puts us a lot closer to the cradle. And for those of you who know or don't know, there's unbelievable routes, so there's a lot of opportunities with regards to what we could do with the mountain bike route. One, from an experience point of view, but two, from a route point of view, in the sense of splitting routes so that you don't have the crossover between different distances, etc., etc. But those are only some of the benefits. I really think this will become the house and the home of cycling in this part of the world for the next 10 years. That's really the plan. So it's not to make a change now and to make another change within the next year or two. This is hopefully one that will be there to stay. And as Tanya said, and once again, thanks to the guys almost building this, tailor-making this venue for us and for the Momentum 94.7 Cycle Challenge. So for us as Momentum, thank you for being here today. Thanks for sharing in this excitement. And I'm sure you're going to have an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. Tanya, you guys have done really well so far. Thanks. If you really think about cycling on television in South Africa, you would quickly pick up that the majority of that happens on Supersport at the moment. When we decided to partner with ETV, we decided that we want to try and expose cycling to a much broader audience. An audience that are currently not necessarily seeing cycling on television all the time. And we actually spoke about it this morning, we've already seen a change in numbers and a change in dynamics and the demographics of the people that we're actually attracting to this race. But apart from that, with ETV being the broadcast partner to the event, we are working towards, and I really want to ask you not to publish any of this as yet, but all we want to say is, as Tanya said, watch the space, but we're working towards HD and we're working towards full day, but let's just get confirmation on that before we can go and tell that to the world. But those are the sort of things that we're talking about right now.
And so we needed to find a new start-finish venue, and we found it at River Sands, and that then, the route change then followed directly on after that.
Why no? There's no N14. How is that going to affect not just for fun riders but the races, the guys as well?
Well, I mean, it adds a lot more climbing into it, funnily enough. I think what I'm hearing from the racing guys is that it's going to split the race up, and Cedar, the Kicker Mountains on Cedar Road, is going to become a pivotal point on the route. I think for Weekend Warrior, they're going to enjoy Stain City Link Road, because there's not too many nice words we have for the N14, and I know I'm being polite because cyclists have sworn about that thing, or that highway for 8 years now. So yeah, I mean, we're very excited, and I hope that, you know, we live in a dynamic town, city, Johannesburg, and Johannesburg is always at the cutting edge, and we're now cutting edge, and we're brave enough to say, you know, we've got to make a change, so let's do it. But this is a change that we can see for the foreseeable future.
It's never been an easy ride. It's still going to be challenging, isn't it?
Correct. It was never supposed to be anything else other than a challenge. Along the lines of a comrades, it may not be as testing, but Joburg is not a flat city. There's more hills in here than we know about, and certainly with another 450 meters of climbing, cyclists are going to feel it. But hopefully we can say it's a bit more picturesque, a little more beautiful, and that there's been a thought that's gone into the design and production of not only the start and finish, but the venue and the parking, access and egress.
Two things, are entries still available, and tell us about the charity site.
Yes, entries still are available. We've got over 10,000 entries to date. We're on track, the trend line for 33,000, and that's before we made this announcement. But, you know, hugely important in the Growth the Cycle Challenge has been the Ride for a Purpose campaign. Last year we had over 180 charity bodies entered, with over 8,000 people riding for a designated purpose. So, you know, that I think cycling people like to give back. You don't have to, but there are opportunities to do so. And if anyone does feel the need, go to our website, join up. I mean, it goes across every spectrum. But even if you just ride for your own purpose, which is to finish or to remember your long-lost, you know, family, there's a reason to get out on your bike. And remember, this is the only day in Joburg that we close the roads to for cyclists. And we take an enormous amount of flack from motorists, but it is Cycle Challenge Sunday, is Cyclists Day in Johannesburg. So yeah, enjoy it.
One more thing, with the start being further back, does that mean Jan Smuts and other roads will be open or closed for longer?
Absolutely correct. They'll be closed for about an hour longer. We're busy doing all of them. We can only really finalise that once we finalise the number of people entered. But yes, I mean, expect at this point an hour. But then the upside is the people in the Kyalami area who've been bothered for years until after 4 o'clock. We'll be through there by 11:30. So swings and roundabouts, some winners, some, I don't like to say losers, some people we're just going to ask for a little bit more patience for a little bit longer.
I just want to bring up the fact when you watch the Tour of Switzerland, the Giro d'Italia, how those towns that are shut down embrace the riders. I guess you want that as well.
You know, and they are little towns generally. They don't take too much cycling through to the major cities. We have asked, and I think we have become a partnership with the city and with the residents of Johannesburg in terms of understanding the good that arises from this. Last year we raised over 12.5 million rand through charity through this event, and we're aiming at 15 if not 20 million rand this year to be raised. And so for that we ask for a little bit of understanding, and I think the cyclists will just say, you know, it's only one day of the year that we're asking for freedom of the roads.